Are you ready to expand your life and reality? Join us for the next hour with Jamie Bates as she shares life-changing thoughts, techniques, and awarenesses to help you expand your reality.
Hello and welcome. I am Jamie Bates, consciousness facilitator and expander of realities. My mission with my radio show is to create greater awareness of what is possible and to expand you beyond the limitations of this reality. I am grateful that you're joining me today. And today I want to talk about how awareness changes everything. Today I want to explore awareness. I want to share with you how to deeply move through awareness, giving your body and your being space to not internalize what you are aware of, and how to use your awareness to truly set you free. Yeah, you guys, there is so much going on right now in the world, right? We are moving through the dissolve of the system. There is so much projection and expectation and energies moving and shifting and changing. We are hyper speed through just lots of paradigms are falling, and our bodies are aware of things. And right now it's super duper important that you understand awareness and understand that you are in you're an aware being. Okay, number one, you are an aware being. No matter how you have allowed yourself to be aware in the past, it's really important right now that we start acknowledging how very aware you truly are. Okay, your acknowledgement of how aware you are is going to help you to expand into your awareness, number one. Okay, now the thing is we were set up, we're designed to be aware. Okay, we have this energy, space, and consciousness, which is our being, right? And then we have our bodies, which are within our being, right? So we have our being, right? Our being is our energy, our space, and our consciousness. So when our body dies, right, we still have our being, which is, again, our energy, our space, and our consciousness. And then we have our body, right? And our body is a receiving organ. Okay, a receiving organism, I should say. And our body is always receiving information, right? Always. That's what our body does. Our skin absorbs information. Your skin is absorbing information all the time. Your mouth tastes, your nose smells, your eyes see, your ears hear. This reality from a very young age teaches you how to use your body to receive information, right? What do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you hear, right? What do you feel in your body, right? Now, the thing that has us mostly kind of wonked up is this reality has convinced us that if we feel something in our body, it must be ours, right? If you feel sadness, you must feel sad. What's wrong with you, right? If you feel anger, you must be angry. Why are you angry, right? Instead of allowing us to understand that because we are receiving information all the time, right? We're always receiving awareness from everyone all the time, always. Just feel that for a moment. Okay, this reality has taught you how to perceive the information, how to feel the information, how to internalize it as your own, versus understanding that you're just receiving information from everyone all the time. That's what your body does. It receives information. Now, depending on how much programming you have in the way, how many systems and structures and things you stored within your field, and essentially we store systems and structures when we decide this means this and that means that, right? When I start to perceive this energy, this is what it means, and we build all of these forms and structures all within our energy, space, and consciousness to help us identify and navigate this reality. It's part of our DNA programming, how to energetically navigate this reality, right? Because if we need some type of programming to some extent because we need to be able to energetically exist here. So we don't need to constantly be in this state of figuring out information all of the time, right? But what has happened is we have use this programming essentially to create our reality. But what has happened is this information has kind of been stored in a way where it has stopped us from actually really creating our reality, instead of just always receiving information and identifying with this means this and that means that. And what it's done is it's limited, number one, what we're able to receive. So have you ever been somewhere or done something the same way for, maybe 5 years or 10 years, drove the same way, or shopped at the same grocery store, or did something, the same for a really long time, and then one day noticed something and thought, gosh, has that always been there? Like, how come I've been driving this way for 10 years, or I've been, shopping at this grocery store for the last 5 years and I've never noticed that before? Is that new or whatever? And somebody says, oh no, that's always been there. And you're like, well, I've never seen it. And that's because you've never seen it, because there was something in the way of you seeing that. You're programming some kind of idea or thought or belief system or point of view that actually stopped you from actually actualizing seeing that, or realizing that, or even it's the same with like people, right? Have you ever had a friend that you've had for 8 years or something, and then one day you look at them and it's like, wow, I never even seen that about them before? Right? Have you ever had that happen? I know in my lifetime, there's been plenty of times. I wouldn't say necessarily recently, but I can remember when I was young, I was a teenager, my early 20s, and looking at people and thinking, how have I known this person for, 5 years and never even seen that about them? Right? And again, that's because our viewpoints, our points of views, our belief systems were in the way of us truly receiving things. Well, what's going on right now, especially, is the control system, the matrix system as we know it, is losing form and structure. So a lot of the form and structure that this reality has built in order to make this reality relatable, and has created these forms and structures in order to keep us in alignment of this form and structure, it's crumbling right now. Okay, we're seeing these forms and structures crumbling everywhere. And what's going on is, as these form and structures are crumbling, we're becoming aware of things that we have never been aware of before. Breathe that through, because what's going on is, as this form and structure is crumbling, we are seeing the truth. It's like the truth is at the base of it, right? And then all of a sudden, this reality built all of this form and structure on top of it and said, no, 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 this means this, and that means that, and this means this. It doesn't mean the truth of it, right? Well, and what happens is when we get looped into something that's not necessarily 100% true, in order for us to believe anything, there has to be some elements of truth within it. So if we look at a lot of the form and structure that exists within this reality, most of it was built upon the truth foundation. Okay. And then they built up the form and structure, but they did it in a way where they looped a lot of things. So a lot of things didn't make sense. Some things weren't true. Some things were like false information, but they allowed a lot of, or they convinced, I should say, a lot of people to believe in the truth of it. And then we started functioning from within it. I feel like I'm talking in code right now, but I hope what I'm saying is making sense to you. If you're listening to this show right now, or wherever you're listening to it at, let me know that you understand what I'm saying here. Just comment on this show and say, I understand what you're saying, Jamie, please. Because sometimes I feel like, without saying too much, I'm trying to explain how this control system has looped us into limitation. Okay, how it has allowed us to believe and buy into form and structure that really isn't true. And what has happened is once you buy into something that isn't true for yourself, what happens is it starts to limit your possibilities, because energetically, we know when something isn't true. Okay. But when we're talking about a big, huge form and structure, like, let's say, the way that we live our life, okay, it's like, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what is going on that you're living within that isn't true, right? You just know that something doesn't feel right. And most of us have lived most of our life living in this like wonky paradigm of like, I feel weird. I know that something weird is going on. I know that I don't feel like this isn't right, but we don't really know how to get to the truth of it. And the reality is we can't get to the truth of it because we're not just talking about, you know, one little small thing. We're talking about a lot of the belief systems that we have bought into are not true. Okay, now they have parts and pieces that are true, right? Like if we look at the system of religion, okay, at the core of it, there's definitely truths there, right? But as the whole form and structure, and depending on what form and structure it is, whether you're talking about the Catholic religion or the Baptist religion, or, if you're looking at all the different branches and all the different, like there's all kinds of there's truths and then there's untruths, right? But once we buy into the system, we assimilate the whole system. So then all of a sudden we're functioning within the system and it just doesn't really feel right, but we can't really put our finger on this isn't right because it's not just one thing. It's several different parts and pieces within the structure that are not true. And when we start functioning within a structure that has several parts and pieces within it, when I say several, it's probably more like, potentially, let's just look at the system as a whole. Maybe it has, 8 million pieces and 3 million of them aren't true, right? So it's not even just like, well, I can define that this isn't true and this isn't true. It's a lot of it that isn't true, right? And it's a lot of information that is stored energetically within your being that isn't true, and that creates a heaviness. So what we're going through right now, sorry about my long explanation right now, but essentially what we're moving through right now is these form and structures are crumbling. I've been talking about this for the last year and a half, 2 years, right? About the form and structure falling apart. Okay, we're literally getting to the nitty gritty of the form and structure crumbling right now. The system is losing control. And we're seeing that in such a hardcore manipulation right now, right? There is manipulation going on in every single aspect of our life right now. People are trying to control and trying to project fear. There's a lot of people buying into the fear. There's a lot of people just reprojecting the fear. There's so many things going on right now. And we are feeling all of those things in our body. Okay, so our body is feeling, overwhelmed and tired and upset, and we don't know why, and we just don't feel right. And that's because these form and structures are falling. We're dealing with multiple levels of manipulation, multiple levels of projections. Right now, it's more important than ever to allow yourself to breathe and move through your awareness, giving your body just space and reminding yourself that what you are perceiving is not yours. Okay. Right now is not the time to be internalizing this information as real and true. The reality is everything is just energy and consciousness. And the thing is the only thing that gives energy weight and makes it real and solid is when people allow the polarity of the concept to create space in their field. So if someone says, this house is black and points at it, and you look at the house and it's like, no, that house is actually brown. And they go, this house is black. And they start yelling at you about how the house is black. And you can either fight against that, right? Or defend it, or try to make it make sense, or align and agree with it. Or you can just go, okay, and just let that move through and move on. Breathe. The thing is right now, we need to be as much space as we possibly can, understanding that you are always receiving perceiving information coming off of everything. It's your identification of the information and allowance of making it real and true in your own life that's actually helping to create the solidity of it. Everything, all of that is. And all of that, 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 all of that. Nice deep breath. Everything, all of that is. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of your universes? And can we just choose that now? I'm just going to vaporize, depress, 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 depress. I'm just going to pull this through here for a moment, just really give you some more space. The thing is we need to learn how to not internalize information, understanding that it's all just information. Okay, once you have an awareness of information and of an energy that's moving through, once you can just see that it's just an energy, you have the choice to be able to change it. When you identify with it as, I am this or I am that, all of a sudden you're sticking yourself within the paradigm of it. So the last few weeks I've been doing in my Facebook group, I've been offering awareness sessions. Essentially, it's like a 30-minute just a session where we just do it online only. I'm just doing it via Facebook message right now. And essentially, I just tap into your energy, space, and consciousness, and I let you know what I am aware of that's hanging out in your field. So today I wanted to kind of take an opportunity to kind of talk about how receiving awareness about what energies you might have stored in your field, how when you actually really can receive that awareness of that energy, you can actually shift that energy instead of continuing to identify within it. So I did a lot of different sessions, okay? And one of the main themes that I seen in most people was this energy of, I've been looking at really like what concept here can I create the most space with for the most of us. And one of the energies that I felt most often was this energy of, let me see if I can quite put my finger on exactly what we require here, because that one doesn't feel right. So I'm just going to pull this through and see what we can use mostly as the group. Okay, for some reason, the energy of, it's kind of a different energy than I was working with other people for, but it was the energy of irresponsibility. I'm going to pull this through for a moment here. Okay, so if I can receive the energy of irresponsibility, essentially that means that we're functioning within the energy of claiming and owning being irresponsible. Okay, so what happens when you live in a form and structure where you have decided you are not responsible, right? What happens is then you start identifying with that construct of not being responsible. Okay, so what happens is then it's almost like you plant that energy of not responsible. Now, when I'm looking at this energy as a whole, essentially this would be like I'm going to talk about this as a core frequency. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you are functioning and not being responsible, but essentially this is how these frequencies create in our life. Okay, so most of us have some kind of a core frequency that we function within in our life, okay? And it's a theme that comes up over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and we're aware of it because we're hearing ourselves say the concept all the time. So I'm going to take that concept of not feeling responsible, let's say. So at some point, you identified within that energy. Now, I know that it might not necessarily be true for you, so this is kind of a hard thing for me to explain, but I wanted to use a concept in a way so we can kind of see how it would create in our life, okay? Irresponsibility is kind of a weird one. So let me just feel into this for a second. Let me see if I can take a different concept because I don't know why that one would even come up. Maybe there is people listening that are functioning within that, but it has a weird energy on it for me. So let's just look at the different one here. So let's take the concept of not feeling like you belong here. I know there's a lot of people that feel like that. So essentially, if you feel like that often, that's a core frequency of yours. Okay. So what happens is, number one, potentially you could have lifetimes and lifetimes in lifetimes when you functioned in that space. So maybe you've always felt different. You've always felt like you don't belong here. You've always felt like this life doesn't make very much sense to you. And potentially, the more lifetimes, the more energy you contribute, the more times you hear yourself say, well, I'm just different than everyone else, or you feel yourself feel, I just don't fit in here, or you hear the thoughts of, I'm just too different, right? When you feel all those energies all the time, that means that energy is making up your core frequency. So what happens is then, and again, like a lot of times our core frequency comes from repeated past lives of living in that same core frequency. And then when we come here this lifetime, most times in the core frequency that we're standing in, those around us feel the same way. So probably your parents probably felt disconnected from this reality. They probably felt like they didn't really fit in. Like I've done a lot of concepts this last couple of weeks, like feeling like, gosh, I can't even, everything I'm trying to go to is like completely disappearing from my brain. So apparently I'm not supposed to talk about any of that. So I just won't. But so essentially, we reperpetrate that pattern. Well, then we store that pattern, that energy, space, and consciousness all over our field. Okay. So then no matter what we do, we're functioning in this space where we already have the point of view that we don't fit here in this reality, that, this reality is too different, that we don't understand this reality. And so it doesn't really matter what job you have or what people you surround yourself with. You're standing within that core frequency. And that's the core frequency that you're telling everyone. Because even though people aren't consciously receiving that energy awareness, they are unconsciously picking up that frequency. And then when they're around you, they think, gosh, this person is weird. Gosh, this person doesn't fit in. Gosh, this person is really different, right? And then you're perceiving and feeling their energy that's coming off of them. And then you're revalidating it. So now what happens when you understand that energy as a frequency instead of an internalization of who you are? When you can start realizing that I have felt disconnected from this reality in the past. I have functioned in an energy that has said, you are different, you don't belong here. Just think about how much separation that frequency upholds in your being. If you are constantly validating the frequency that you don't belong here, and that this reality doesn't make any sense to you, and that you are too different to fit in here, I'm just going to pull this through for a moment. You're creating the very separation that you're feeling within your being. Now, definitely 100%, I want to acknowledge that you probably had nothing to do with that original creation, right? And in my own personal opinion, I do feel like we have been programmed with different frequencies that have intentionally created separation within our beings. We are waking up right now. We are coming to the realization that we are not different. We are not separate. We are one. And everything is connected. You are aware of everyone and everything. And as long as you uphold a core frequency that keeps you separate from others, that keeps you distance, keeps you in a distance paradigm, that upholds separation and your own field, breathe that through for a moment. You're never going to be able to evolve. And the thing is right now we have to evolve. We have no other choice. This reality is moving forward. It's evolving. It's transforming. We are never going back to quote unquote normal. We have experienced the event that is changing the way that we function as beings here on this planet. Now is the time to start becoming aware of the core frequencies that you are holding on to, that are creating the way that your life is showing up. And instead of internalizing those core frequencies as a wrongness of you, understanding that it's just programming that you have been programmed within, that keep you functioning within the cycle, that stop you from truly being you. Breathe that through for a moment. When you understand how your awareness has allowed you to identify within form and structure that creates the way that your life shows up, it's your awareness of these forms and structures that have created the definition on how you define who you are and how your life shows up. Breathe that through for a moment. You are not the awareness of information that you perceive. You are whoever you decide to be. So many of us are stuck within the definition of what we have been programmed to believe who we are, the core frequencies we grew up with, of that our parents held on to, that their parents held on to, that their parents held on to. Most of us are reperpetrating generational patterns of core traits of who we believe we are that really truly aren't even true for us. Breathe that through for a moment. You are not guilt and anger and upset and overwhelm. You are not this energy that keeps you perpetrating in certain energy paradigms that make you feel heavy and hard. You are space and possibility, and you get to decide what frequencies you decide to align and agree within and create your life with. Breathe that through. Once you are aware of frequency and vibration, once you are aware that most of the core personality traits that we have decided we are, it's just form and structure we have identified within and potentially been perpetrating on our being for lifetimes. Breathe that through for a moment and just receive. Most of us are functioning within form and structure that has totally and completely nothing to do with who we are. It's just decisions we've made or things people told us we were, and we have just perpetrated those cycles, and they make us feel gross about who we are. They make us feel bad about ourselves. They make us uphold energies that really aren't real and true for us. Yeah, so today I'm just giving you energy, just giving you possibility to be able to acknowledge that you are not the energy that you are aware of. Breathe that through for a moment. This week in the Conscious Empath group, we are doing Reiki, although I've had an interesting week this week and kind of caught me by surprise. And I was a little underprepared this week as we moved into the beginning of the week. And I've been just really spending a lot of time and space, just really allowing myself to uh, receive awareness without internalizing information. I had an event happen on Monday. I'm not going to go into the details, but essentially it was something that I wasn't expecting to happen. And life, right? Life comes in, and something happens, and so I really allow myself to be very much space with myself during the times of emotional upheaval. So I'm not internalizing and I'm moving through the energies. So I'm not making them really significant. So I'm not storing them as real and true, and just really allowing myself to be space through this. So, I am feeling much better today. Today is Wednesday, and so I had to take kind of Monday night and Tuesday to really kind of process through things. So I have actually recorded a Reiki session, Reiki healing session for grief and loss for my fan subscribers. So you guys, I have my new fan subscription going. I know it's on Facebook. I know a lot of you guys have a lot of points of views about that, but it's just kind of a really easy platform for me right now to share information with. The fan subscription is only $4.99 a month. And it's really going to allow me a place to be able to post videos. One of my main issues on social media as a whole is, judgment is a real thing. Projection of energy is a real thing. And because I am a consciousness facilitator, putting myself out there in a certain way, I have a ton of free stuff on Facebook, but sometimes the projections of energies get to be a lot for me. So I wanted to still be able to create content without having like a defined plan, but also be able to give more content to people who are really looking for more consciousness information, right? But without continuing to just do it for free, because I'm opening myself up to a lot of judgment paradigms and a lot of just weird energy. So with that being said, I have my fan subscription. And again, it's $4.99 a month. And I understand that a lot of people don't want to do things through Facebook, but I get all of the funds from that. Facebook doesn't take any amount. And, putting your credit card information in, I mean, we live in an age right now where credit cards are super secure. If for some reason your information did get hacked, which I can say that I've been on Facebook, I've had my credit card information on there for years. I've never had any problem. If for some reason your information did get hacked, we live in a reality now where, banks and stuff take care of that fairly quickly. Nobody has to, spend money on something that wasn't theirs. So anyways, $4.99 a month, and I'm doing like 2 to 3 videos per week for my fan subscribers. I'm also giving away 11 programs every single week. This last week I gave out Reiki. So I did Reiki 1 for people who had never taken a Reiki class. I gave out Reiki 2 for those who had. These are already programs I already have. So I'm giving out, again, 11 programs a week. So I'm drawing names. So you have a really, really, really good chance of getting a free program from me for $4.99. I have a couple people now, I've been doing it for the last 3 weeks. I have a couple people who actually have received like 2. I think I even have a couple people that have gotten 3 programs because their name has gotten drawn 3 times, which is exciting for them. So if you want to join us, you can go to my Facebook page, The Conscious Empath, find the fan subscriber. I think it's actually fan supporter. Find the fan supporter. It's $4.99 a month. My goal really truly is I would love to have 1,000 fan subscribers. Now, I've looked at even doing something here on Podbean, but you guys, I just want to simplify things. I want to be supported in a way where if I had enough people, paying me even $4.99 a month, it will allow me to keep continuing to create content, sharing this information. I do a ton of stuff for free. the reality is I still have to support myself and my family. And this is kind of a way to contribute and give back. So if you're an avid listener of the show, I would be so grateful if you would come be a Facebook subscriber with me. $4.99 a month. I wanted to make something where, it wasn't going to be a big, huge charge, but it was still going to allow me to continue to create content, and really, allow me to receive funds in this way, so I can continue to give back with consciousness work and continue to expand the world and share the light and really, the form and structure around this. And so that's kind of my goal here. I would love, love, love if you would come join me. You can also join me on the group in the free Facebook group, The Conscious Empath. And for right now, until something else shows up that is more comparable to the audience size I have to Facebook, I know there's a lot of new social media platforms showing up, and I do anticipate at some point I will probably be at a new one, but for right now, this works for me. So I would love to have your support there. It's really time. It's time for us to really, truly band together and support one another and really allow this awareness of what's going on right now to move through without internalization of the information as something that is real and true about ourselves. Breathe that through, understanding that as this form and structure falls and as these different paradigms are revealed, you are going to feel this information within your being. So making sure that you're staying in your consciousness and your awareness, you're receiving information without internalization, and you are allowing yourself to acknowledge what it is that you're feeling and perceiving and understand that it's not real and true about you. It's just information that's coming through. I hope that makes sense. Also, I want to cordially invite you to my newest live course, The Living Matrix. This course is going to be held in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, September 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We have like a month now, you guys. If you've been looking at coming and joining us, go to consciousempath.com. Look at that 3-day live event. Come join us in Florida. We are going to be, I have rented a conference room. We're going to be in the nice air conditioned. The hotel is on the beach. Let's get some sand and some grounding and some healing. We're going to be doing lots of energy integrations. We're going to be talking a ton. We're going to really truly be shifting and changing our lives. So if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to email me. You can email me at jamie@bates.com, or you can email me at jamie@consciousempath.com. Either one I get. I would love to answer your questions. I am offering those awareness sessions still. So if you would like those, let me know. I am still doing those. It's been really fun. I also just came up with a package of them. I'm having people that have had them done. They're like, do it again, do it again. It's giving me a new outlet to really look at energy and information without actually talking, which is an interesting paradigm because it almost uncovers a little bit more because we don't have the definition of our voices, which I know is a weird thing, but it really is an interesting paradigm. So thank you guys for listening to me today. I hope that my show resonated with you. Please comment. Let me know where you're listening and that you understood what I was talking about today. Give me some feedback. I would love to hear it. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.
You have been listening to Expand Your Reality with your host, Jamie Bates. Thank you for listening.